What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to the In Love with Horror podcast. We are your hosts. I'm AJ.
And I'm Christy. Join us for a love affair with all things horror as we explore the world of horror films, games, and everything in between.
You feel like you almost messed
up. Right, yeah.
But hey, look, y'all, this is our third episode of our Christmas horror series. We both can't talk good on the podcast here. But what's cool about this one is we actually did a poll.
Yes.
Asking you, our viewers and our listeners, what Christmas horror film you wanted us to cover for this third episode. Mm-hmm. And it was between Dead End and Better Watch Out.
Yeah.
And Better Watch Out took it. So that's what we'll be covering for this Christmas episode. It's gonna be all about Better Watch Out. Kind of we'll give you some details about the film, and then we're going to like the things that we liked, the things we didn't like, and kind of where we kind of sit on this film. Because I think it's gonna be an interesting conversation, because I both feel like we're a little bit on different sides of the fence for this one. So this will be a great conversation all about Better Watch Out. So make sure y'all stay tuned. All right, before we actually dive into this film, I wanted to do like a little kickoff question. Now, I didn't really have any babysitters growing up, but I was gonna ask you, like, did you have any babysitters? Do you have any memorable experience with the babysitter, given the film that we're talking about?
Actually, yes. I mean, I had babysitters for sure. Like my mom, she went to school for a point in time in our childhood, so we often had to stay with like our neighbor's daughter.
Okay.
And she was like, I think she was the same age as the babysitter in this movie. I think she was like 17.
Okay.
So there's this one time when she had me and my brother, and she was smoking a cigarette, right? So she obviously wasn't supposed to be smoking. And so my brother was like, I want to try it. He's younger than me. And I'm always the scared one. Like, I'm never going to do anything unless my brother does it. And so, so she was like, sure, or whatever. So she let him puff it.
Oh, wow.
And so I was about to like inhale. I had it on my mouth, but I didn't actually do it. I was like, no, I don't want to do it. And so when we got back home, my brother snitched it on, saying that I was the one who did it.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
He put it all on you.
All on me. And I'm like, it was you.
Right.
And my mom knew that, right? Because she knows how I am. I never would initiate anything. And she's like, no, I think you lying. What happened? But anyways, she ends up going to ask the babysitter what happened. And she's like, oh no, I didn't have any cigarettes. She's like, I was burning some incense. I don't know what they're talking about. Like, she covered her own ass.
Right. Yeah.
And so we got to,
as expected.
Right. But yeah, she knew that she was like, why would we have said that if that's not what happened? But anyways, yeah, I pretty much remember that experience.
Okay. Yeah, that's a very interesting experience. And like I said, I didn't really have no babysitters.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't even match that sort of like interestingness, but that's funny that funny to you.
Yeah.
But that's perfect for, this discussion, because, given what how Better Watch Out plays out, kind of what it involves. It involves a babysitter.
Yeah.
So with that, we actually dive into some details all about Better Watch Out. So starting off, this was a film that was released back in 2016. It's a film out of Australia, right?
Yeah.
Yep. It was directed by Chris Peckover. And I'm not familiar. Was this a film? Undocumented? Have you ever heard of it? Or I never heard of it either. But it worked on a film called Undocumented. And the synopsis for Better Watch Out reads: Ashley travels to the suburban home of the Lerners to babysit their 12-year-old son Luke during the holidays. She must soon defend herself and the young boy when unwelcome intruders announce their arrival. Now, before we get into talking about Better Watch Out, I did kind of want to preface that this is a spoiler conversation, because even with how the film was marketed, there's a point in this film where things shift.
Yeah.
And it's a very unexpected shift that they didn't even advertise as being a shift. So I do want to warn you, if you've never seen this film ever, like you don't know what that shift is, that when it happens, if you're not familiar with it, I do recommend you actually go watch this movie on your own, just so you can kind of experience this film the way it's intended to be, kind of where you don't really know it. I feel like this is one of those films where it's best if you go in not knowing anything. So
I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would advise that you go check out Better Watch Out. We watched it on Amazon Prime. It's up there as part of is it part of the AMC Plus subscription or Shudder subscription?
It's one of them.
I think it might be under the AMC Plus / Shudder, whatever subscription. So definitely go check it out real quick before you. I said real quick.
I think it's on Tubi too.
That's on Tubi?
I think so.
Yeah, there you go. Watch it for free on Tubi. Definitely watch it and then come back and join us for this discussion, because I would hate to ruin your first experience with this film by telling you kind of how things play out, because this is a spoiler-filled conversation. So that's your spoiler warning right there for Better Watch Out. Go check it out and then come back and join us for the conversation. So let's talk about Better Watch Out.
Okay.
Now, typically, like, we do like the play-by-play type of thing. Do you, because we try to keep it supernatural here, right? Do you want to do like a play-by-play?
I don't think we have to do a play-by-play. We can just do an overview of what happened in the movie and then talk about whatever you want to talk about.
Yeah, so you're good at doing the overview, so I'm gonna let you do the overview.
Okay.
You're better at it than I am.
All right. That's because you forget everything.
Well, that's true. I do be forgetting about that. I'll be forgetting about like the main or mini,
even
the small
details.
point. Yeah, the small detail points. So I'll let you do all that.
Basically, we have this character named Ashley. She's a babysitter. Obviously, she is babysitting for this family. It's like a mama, dad, and their son. He's 12. He's 12 years old. His name is Lucas. And Lucas has a friend named Garrett. And they're like best friends. And so like the movie opens with Lucas and Garrett having this conversation, in his room. And it's very sexual in nature, right? So like the whole point is that Lucas knows that Ashley's coming over to babysit because his parents are going to like a holiday work party, I think, for the mom. I think that's how it's going.
Yeah, it sounds like something like that. Yeah.
And so he's like looking up information on how to like put moves on her or try to get her in the mood.
He's trying to put the moves on Ashley. Man.
Yeah, she's 17. And like they focus on the part that, if you watch a horror movie, it kind of like increases your endorphins.
Which that was
and
really
stuff
funny.
Like that.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Yeah. And so Garrett is kind of like just along for the ride type of thing. And Lucas is like telling him like, okay, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to do whatever.
Yeah.
And then they have this discussion about a paint can and like how something can work, in Home Alone. He doesn't think that it would actually
like just knock someone back. He thinks it would just like go right through their face.
Right. So they were having a debate about that. So these are all like things that come up later within the movie. Anyway, so then Ashley shows up. She wasn't intending to babysit because she's about to move. Yep. And so like that's a big thing.
She's packing and all that.
Right. So she's also going back and forth with her boyfriend Ricky, who wants to see her because she is about to move. But yeah, so she shows up. And the dad is like weird, very weird. Yeah. He's like super upset. Like he's okay. So he opens with him looking at the Christmas tree, right? Making this face like something's wrong here. But really is the wife had taken off some kind of ornaments.
Special ornaments.
That he had. So they have this really weird conversation.
That conversation was hilarious.
She's like, you sucked the dude's cock in college, right?
Yeah. Because she was like, are you sure you never sucked a cock before?
Right.
Something like that. Not even in college.
Right. Because he's lost really weekend. Worried about these ornaments and how things look in the house. He's got like Christmas music playing and she's like, turn that shit off, So they have a really weird dynamic.
That junk was hilarious because she said something else after she was like, we had like a lost weekend or something like that. Oh, and then he's like, oh, what are you trying to say? I'm metrosexual.
Right.
She's like, it's not even a word. It's metrosexual.
Yeah.
Like their dynamic was super hilarious.
So I believe this was supposed to be a horror comedy, right? Yeah. And I feel like the comedy in this movie is just all really crude.
Oh, definitely.
Stuff.
Yeah,
There's no like regular humor. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, we watched Krampus earlier.
Like family friendly humor.
Just humor in general. There's no like normal humor. It's like all over there. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I feel like
it's all extreme crude.
Because I feel like it is regular humor. It's just it's more like it's very mature, right? So even in that part, where she's like, "Oh, you ever sucked a dick before?" Like. Yeah, to me, like that whole
go back to the notes. Okay, so
that
like
whole segment,
the very opening of the scene, there's like these kids playing outside, and the kid hits one kid with the snow, and she goes, "You butt fucker," and I was like, "Yeah, this tells you how this rest of this movie is gonna."
Yeah, it's a very like, I feel like it harkens back to like the time period where you got like a lot of the like sexual comedies, like the American Pies, the
American Pie came in like 2000 something.
That's what I'm saying.
Like early 2000s.
That's what I'm saying. But I feel like the comedy is like in that category of this very like crude, mature like type of comedy. You know what I'm saying?
It was too much for me.
Yeah. So to me, it's like it's regular comedy, but like it's not family friendly. Like
I
you're
didn't
not
expect
showing
it to be family
like you know what I'm
friendly,
saying. You're not showing your kids this movie.
Well, I
you know
get
what I mean?
that. But I just want some regular comedy. It was like there wasn't like regular jokes. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyways, we got hung up on that.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, moving on. Yeah. So
you had that part, and then the dad starts acting all weird.
Yeah.
With,
so the babysitter shows up, and he's like looking at her like he ready to eat her for dinner.
Yeah.
Like
he's looking at her like she was a snack type.
Yes. Yeah. He obviously isn't gay, which was what the wife was kind of like almost hinting at, like something. Yeah. But yeah, he was like, I'm gonna miss that girl, like stuff like that, you know?
Yeah. Even when he first opened the door, he was like
gorgeous or something like that.
He was like, wow, you're breathtaking.
Yeah, that's what he said. Of course, you remember that part. I feel like this movie, I said this earlier, I feel like this movie had a very specific target audience, and you fit that, and I don't.
I thought this shit was funny.
I bet. But anyways. So
I thought it was pretty funny movie.
Yeah, he did say that to her. But yeah, he comes off as really like yucky to me with the babysitter. Like she's 17. And I know it's a real thing in life, like women are often over-sexualized, even at that age.
Right,
like 14, 15, 16, 17. I get it. Okay. But I don't know. It was just really off-putting.
But, to the credit of the movie, though, I feel like they're also playing off of like real life stuff. I'm sure that there's dudes.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I'm trying to say? Like that are just like that.
Absolutely.
And that's a very real thing.
I believe that as well.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think that coupled with all the extraness was just over my limit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the mom shows the babysitter this pencil, and I guess she has it hidden in like an upstairs drawer or whatever, but she was telling her, hey, like put this pencil up on this door so I can know if he's sleepwalking, because apparently he's sleepwalking again or something. At some point he used to. Yeah. And so she's like, just balance this pencil on the doorknob, and that's how we can tell whether or not he's like leaving his room.
Yep.
She hides it up under the carpet that's in the hallway. Anyway, so yeah, she's kind of like setting her up to get ready to leave. So they leave, and then things start to kind of like go in a certain direction where the kid is literally trying to like put the moves on his babysitter.
He's trying to make moves on her.
Yeah. Like he's got the movie on, and like he has candles. Candles and champagne, and he's like doing the works or whatever. Yeah.
He even put his hand on her leg. She moved that joint. Yeah. Put it back.
Yeah. But there were some points where she was kind of like, encouraging him a little bit.
To some degree.
Yeah. And I was just like, oh, Lord. Like, I don't know. You were saying it makes sense for him to be like this, but in my mind, I'm like, he's 12.
Yeah, no.
I feel like
people at 12, 13 is having like those kind of conversations.
I get that. But also, she's 17. Almost 18, probably.
Hey, the kid was overconfident. Like, they believe that.
I just feel like he should have been a little bit older. His character to me should have been a little bit older, like 14, 15. Anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he opens up this bottle of champagne. He takes a swig of it, and she's like, oh, give me that, whatever. And then later on, she also drinks the champagne, and he's like, I caught you or whatever. And she ends up giving it back to him and lets him drink it.
Yeah, she kind of like, she didn't like give it to him. He kind of like took it, and then
but she just let it go.
Right? Yeah, she was just kind of like, well, all right, whatever.
Yeah, but he continues to drink this champagne.
It's kind of like how you saw like with your babysitter. Yeah, where it's like, well, yeah, you can try smoking it.
Yeah,
like whatever. They don't care.
So they he starts to act kind of fresh. He takes his thing to the limit, over the limit, and try to like kiss her, and she's like, wait, no, stop, or whatever. So he gets irritated with her because her boyfriend also is still calling her, and yeah, he gets really irritated like the third time that he calls her on the phone.
Yep.
At some point she realizes they didn't order pizza like his parents had told them to, but then right when she says, oh, I forgot to order the pizza, the doorbell rings. And so she looks at the door. We don't ever see who's outside of the door.
Yep.
Like we don't see their face or anything, but she acts really weird, because she's like, oh, we didn't order this pizza.
Yep. And he's like, oh, my dad must have just ordered it.
Yeah, my dad must have ordered it. Now, earlier he had said something like, oh, I don't get mushrooms on my pizza, but the pizza that they got had mushrooms on it. And she's like, well, if your dad ordered this, why does it have mushrooms on it? And he's just like, oh, they want you to eat vegetables. Right. Now, way earlier at the beginning of the movie, when the babysitter was driving to the house, there's like this shot of a truck that starts and like follows her. behind her. And so you're kind of like at this point thinking maybe this is
someone's stalking them.
Yeah, someone's stalking her or them.
Yep. They have a lot of like horror suspense shots, like shadows in the window, things like that to make it, make it seem like, oh, there's someone who's stalking and about to, break into this house. And then that's where I guess the horror is going to kick off. Yeah. That's how they're setting it up.
Right. And so when she closes the door after taking the pizza, this Santa blow mold is in the house. And she's like, where the heck did this come from? Yep. So she puts it back outside. And a couple times too, like the door was open or whatever. But yeah, so they're watching this horror movie and she's like, why would you go in the attic? That's so stupid. Which is funny. What? Because if something else happens later on. A lot of foreshadowed stuff. Yeah. Yep. So then things kind of like amp up after that, after the whole kissing situation. They have the shadows and stuff in the windows. And then same stuff starts to go left, right? So then she gets this phone call and the person's being weird about like, I see you. And she's like, well, what am I doing now? She's like looking out the window. The person hangs up and then it amps up, right? So then Garrett shows up. He kind of like does it in a creepy way where they're like, oh my God, it's you, like type of thing. Like they thought it was him that was doing all the stuff in the window. And he was like, oh no, I wasn't up doing that or whatever. Oh, right. Yep. And then they hear some noise upstairs.
Yep. Like a window breaks or something like that.
So when they go upstairs, they find a brick that was thrown through the window. And then they don't know it right away, but the brick says, if you leave, you die. So like the lights go out or something like that. Yep. And then, which is weird because I feel like some of the lights on the banister was still on, right?
I can't really remember.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. So most of the main lights in the house go out. And so like they're freaked out. They hear like stuff outside, inside. It seems like there's like multiple people involved in like trying to get into the house. Yeah. Now Garrett at some point is like freaked. So he runs outside. And when he runs outside,
he shot with an arrow.
He's like shot with something and you see him fall. And so the babysitter kind of like, tackles Lucas. He's all like, in heaven because she's laying on top of him. Yep. And so that it looks like he's like Garrett got like killed or something. Right. And so there she's like, okay, we have to figure something out. So he's like, well, my dad has a gun. So they're like, let's try to get to the gun. So for the next few like shots, they're trying to get to the gun. And they see someone walking around upstairs with a gun in their hand and like a flashlight. And they end up going into the attic. Which is for, we got back to earlier. And then when they're in the attic, some spider or something falls on her.
It's like his pet spider.
She freaks out, falls out of the attic almost. And he's like, I got you. I'll protect you.
Yeah, he was really trying to play that role.
He was really playing that up super badly. He kept saying it, I'll protect you. I got you. So he eventually goes to find the gun. He shows back up with the gun in his hand. And he's like, taking charge at this point. Like he's protecting her, which is crazy because he's 12 years old.
Hey, he's gonna do whatever he needed to do to,
So they end up in his room, in his closet. And then the person followed the noise that they were making and he realizes that they're also in the room. He's looking around in the room and she realizes that the mask that the kid is wearing with the gun is one of Lucas's mask. And she's like, isn't that your mask? And she's like, wait a minute. And
she like pieced it together.
Yeah, she realizes this is a prank.
Yeah, because she saw him scratch his shoulder or whatever, just like Garrett did. So she like pieced everything together.
Yeah. So she busts out, Garrett, is that you? And then she's like, dude, he's like, dude, like, what do I do now, right?
Yeah, he's all cover blown. Like, he didn't know what to do. Yep.
Yeah. So they realize, he takes off the mask. It's Garrett. He's got this big coat on, making himself look bigger. Yep. Got his dad's shotgun in his hand. Yep. And she's like, why are y'all doing like, she fusses at them for pranking her. But more importantly, like what they were doing wasn't safe. Like they're playing a dangerous game, really.
With guns and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah. She's like, I'm going to call the police on y'all. I was going to call the police on you. Like, oh yeah. Because at one point none of the phones worked or the internet worked or anything. Like he had basically blocked everything out. Yep. But yeah, so she realized it was a prank. And yeah, it was retarded that he was like, well, she's like, she knew what you were trying to do. Are you trying to get to second base by doing this or whatever? So she flips out. He doesn't want her to tell, so he knocks her out. Yep. So she wakes up tied up with duct tape to the chair. Yep. Him and Garrett are kind of like playing around, right? It's like this is all a game it's really a game to Lucas. But Garrett is kind of like
the mastermind.
Yeah, Garrett is just kind of like going along for the ride type of thing.
He just does what he tells him to do. Yep.
That's it. And so he's like, well, let's play truth or dare. And of course, he gets this. I don't like this scene either because he's like, Garrett's like, okay, what do you dare me to do? He's like, I dare you to touch her tit or whatever.
Oh, right. Yep.
And so he fills her up, and I was just like, oh, this is so retarded. And like, you could tell by her on her face, right? The face that she's making, like, this is a super uncomfortable situation. Mm-hmm. Yep. And I don't know. It was uncomfortable to me to watch as well. I didn't like it.
Which I think is the point.
Yeah. I know. I didn't like it at all. But yeah, so they're playing truth or dare, and then Garrett's like, okay, my turn. Like, he wants to do something too. Mm-hmm. So now they're like arguing because Lucas doesn't want Garrett to touch Ashley. Mm-hmm. And he's like, well, why do you get to have all the fun? You know? Yeah. And so it's kind of like I said, it's just a game to them. Mm-hmm. And now Garrett's like, well, I don't want to do this anymore because this no longer is fun.
Right. Yep.
And so he's like, I'm ready to just leave. But then eventually her boyfriend does eventually show up.
Yep.
Ricky, his name is Ricky. And he's dumb, but he can't help it, I guess. And that was kind of like the point that Lucas was making, like, these guys that you like are idiots. Like, why do you like these guys or whatever? Yeah. Mm-hmm. But anyways, yeah, so he eventually shows up and he's trying to get rid of him. Lucas is trying to get rid of him. He's like, oh, she's sick. She's got cramps. She's got diarrhea. Like, he's coming up with all kinds of stuff to try to like get him out of the house. Yep. But Ricky's like, no, I want to see her. And so he's looking all around trying to find her, Ashley, whatever. And Lucas follows behind him and he grabs a bat. He hits him with the bat, but he doesn't completely knock him out. And
he thought he did, but he didn't.
Ricky kind of like, gets back up. They fight and tussle a little bit. But then Garrett shows up with the shotgun and he's like, I'm going to shoot you. So he kind of like gives up. And then he hits him again with the bat. And this time he does knock him out. And at one point, I think he also gets stabbed in the mouth with the pencil that was his mom had hidden on the carpet. Yep. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so now Ashley and Ricky are tied up.
Yep. They both locked up.
Yeah. And so Lucas is kind of like, oh, I can use this to my advantage. Like, so I can get out of this. Like, because Ashley kept saying, you're going to get caught. And he's like, no, I'm not. No one's going to find out. Yep. Like, he kept telling her that. And so eventually he calls her other ex, Jeremy, to kind of like get in on this too, because obviously this kid is obsessed with his babysitter.
Yeah. And he wants to. You start to realize that I can't remember exactly what point it is, but that he's orchestrating all these things.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he called, well, it's after that because they're like, oh no, I think it's Ricky. Yeah, it is right there. Because he's like, why did you come over? She asked him, why did he come over? And he's like, you texted me.
Oh, right, yeah.
And she was like, no, I didn't.
Really upset because he's like, he's like, oh, you, like even the phone, him throwing the phone in the aquarium, like he wrapped it in the sealant and stuff like that. So like, he planned this entire thing to the T.
Yeah, he really did.
Even, inviting Jeremy over there was like, he created the whole steps, the Fall Guys, like all that stuff. Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, when he said he texted Ricky to come over from her phone, that's when Garrett was like, you texted him? Like, because Garrett doesn't even know that detail.
He doesn't know that. He doesn't know the full plan. He has no clue.
Yeah. Yep. So then he calls Jeremy. He tries to get Ashley to do it, but she just like, no, because I'm not bringing anyone else into this. But he calls him himself and is like, Ashley wants you to come over. She wants to apologize. Wants you to apologize, or y'all want to make up or whatever. So Jeremy does come over, and there's a funny scene where he's like in the car, kind of like pumping and stuff.
Yeah, he's trying. He's like, what am I gonna say? I gotta get it right.
Right.
Like,
I did like that part. I thought that was interesting. But he's like, yeah, come around the back. So he gets him to come in the back, and then like basically convinces him to write an apology letter, and then he hangs him.
Yep.
So it makes it look like he killed.
A murder-suicide.
Yeah, murder-suicide, exactly. Yep. So, like you said, he really like planned all of this completely
whole shit
out.
Yep.
Yeah, and I don't remember what happened after that. But oh yeah, back in the house.
Because he comes back in the house and he sees that Garrett was untying, was cutting Ashley loose. Yeah, she was convincing him to like, hey, look, you still get out of this. Let me go. Let's call the cops.
Yeah,
and he was kind of
skipped the part, but yeah. So Ricky and Ashley were trying to get away. We forgot this part.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, we did. That's important. That's an important part.
Yeah. So eventually they somehow get Ricky. Oh, I know Garrett was smoking weed in the house, and to kind of cover that part up, he gave Ricky the joint, made him smoke it so that it was in his system to make it seem like he was the one smoking in the house. And then they moved his chair into the hallway. And, earlier they were talking about the paint can thing from Home Alone. And Garrett was like, what did he say?
Well, because like he didn't really know what he was doing.
Yeah.
and Lucas put him down in front of the stairs, and then he got the paint bucket and threw it over, and that's when Garrett was like, "Oh wait, you're home alone in him? Like, you didn't tell me that."
Yeah,
he's like, "Oh no, let's like actually test this theory."
Yeah,
and
Ashley is able to break out of her, thing almost. Right, she's got the chair still attached to her, but she runs out with the gun. She's like, "Okay, stop. That's enough. Like, I'm gonna shoot y'all." And he does it anyway. He lets the paint can go. And it kills Ricky. Yep. And he's like, I told you it wasn't gonna make him fly back. He's laughing at it. He thinks it's funny.
Yeah, because he's psychotic.
Yes, obviously. Yeah. So she's like, why are you laughing? And she goes to shoot the gun off and realizes it's not even loaded. Yeah. And I was like, ugh, this dude been walking around threatening her with an empty gun.
Yeah, he played it off. He played it super good.
He really did. Yep. Yeah. So
and like there was a moment, I think before, I want to say it was before all this, where she was trying to tell him like, "Oh, you still let us go," all that stuff. Yeah. And she had mentioned the time that he killed Garrett's hamster. He's super upset and all that stuff.
And he was like, "Oh, it wasn't an accident."
No, it wasn't an accident. I did it on purpose.
Yeah. So
he's like, I just did that so I could.
We know he's a psychopath.
Yeah. He's a legit like sociopath. He's completely psychotic, and so like it showed that he's planned other things, got out of other things. He even mentions to Garrett like, I'm the master of getting away with anything. You know what I'm saying? He like stole money out of his mom's purse and he played that off with sleepwalking. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So which is why they do the pencil thing. Like he orchestrates stuff and gets away with stuff and lies. Like he's a complete sociopath. And they kind of drop different nuggets to show that throughout the movie. Yeah.
So ultimately she tries to run away, but Garrett catches her. And then we also see that the point when Garrett ran out and got hit was all like a part of that plan. Because what happens to her when she runs out there, she hits the tripwire herself and she gets almost out, right? So there's like these carolers outside and he throws the brick at her head and he knocks her out. Yep. And then she's tied up again. But this time she's wrapped up in Christmas
And I think it was like right after that, it cuts to the scene.
To the Jeremy stuff.
No, it cuts to the scene where he's outside with the carolers and they're singing and he gave them all hot cocoa and stuff.
Oh, I must have missed that part.
Yeah, because he gave them all hot cocoa. And it was just like a funny scene because like his door is like cracked, so you can't really see in there. But you got the dead body of Ricky in there, and then she's tied up with lights in the back. Oh, and it's just like these carolers, singing. I forgot what song they were singing. And he just sitting there with his Christmas sweater on, just listening, all smiling, and got them all hot cocoa. And once they're done singing, he's like, "Oh, like I hope that hot cocoa keeps y'all warm. Like, thank you for coming over here."
Must have went to the
like so, like like really showing like just how crazy it is that he could flip a switch and play his role, but then also go back to being completely psychotic.
Right. Yeah.
Crazy.
Oh yeah. So can you scroll down because I can't see?
Oh. Nope.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So I'm actually ahead of all this, but where am I at? Nope, you're going too far. But anyways, yeah. So ultimately, then the thing with Jeremy happens. Now Garrett and Ashley are having like this conversation. He's kind of like talking to her in the house when he's outside doing what he's doing with Jeremy. And she gets to the point where she's kind of convinced him, like, your friend is not your friend. Like, he's crazy.
Yeah, he's just using you.
Yeah, he's just using you, right? But when Lucas finally comes back in the house, he sees Garrett with her and he flips. She's like, I told you not to touch her. And he kills him.
Yeah, which is it's actually crazy how that happened in that scene too, which is a really cool scene. Because he's like helping her. All of a sudden he just gets blasted. Boom. Like he just gets blown to the side.
Like, you shot me.
Yep. Yeah. And then he goes over there and he fucking executes him. I was like, good, this kid
shoots him right in the daggone head.
Crazy. Like he executed his own friend.
Yeah.
And he just kind of like, what did he say? He said something like, oh, like he wasn't of any use anymore anyway, or something like that. I was like, this dude, cold blood savage, boy.
Yeah, he
good
is.
God.
But yeah, at that point, she's realized she's fucked. She's not getting out of this, right?
Right. Yep.
And he's like laying on her and like talking to her, kind of like expressing his thoughts to her. Mm-hmm. And she doesn't respond to him at all. And then he gets even madder. And then he stabs her in the neck.
Yep.
Which was, I thought that was a pretty creative way to do that scene because you don't really see anything until. Go ahead.
I was gonna say we also got some details in that scene too because he mentions like that his mom stopped like hugging him and loving on him and stuff like that. And then Ashley makes a comment like, "Oh, I know why she did," and then she like just stops talking. That's when he like, gets super like angry. You know what I'm saying? That's when he goes and like stabs her and stuff. Yeah. But this like it's cool. The thing I like about this movie is it's just dropping all these different nuggets to kind of like build this kid's background of potentially some of the things that, you know, could have led to him being as crazy as he is, you know, and we kind of, and also what's cool is like they do a lot of these different foreshadow scenes because him making that comment plays into something that happens at the end of the movie. But yeah, I'll get to that once you get to that part at the end.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, he stabs her in the neck, and then he spends the next few minutes like tying all the loose ends together.
Yep,
like,
that was a cool part.
Like early, for example, he had, you know, the paint can was yellow. The paint was in the can was yellow, so he put the paint on Jeremy's hands. You know, stuff like that, making sure everything was back in its place,
wiping down the weapons, putting everything up. And there's even some times where he remembered the pencil.
Yeah, like
he's
like, forget something.
The pencil.
Yeah,
like, his cheek, holding his cheek.
Right.
Make sure the pencil was down there. Like that dude.
He had all the pieces laid out.
A little evil genius type thing.
And then he gets himself all in his pajamas, back in his bed, turn on his sound machine, trying to put the pencil back on the doorknob. So it makes sure it looks as though he's been in his room the whole time. And then it cuts to like, you know, his parents coming home. He's outside doing something. What was he doing out there on the roof?
Well, because he realized that he couldn't put the pencil back.
He couldn't put the pencil
back. So he went to the other bedroom to circle back
through the window
around
to get
so
back in
his pencil up there. Just
it's
perfect.
Ridiculous. So so he does do that. And then his parents come in the house. You hear them scream, you know, the mom screaming. And then go ahead. You said you want to talk about the ending. Well,
yeah, because she comes in there screaming. I actually like how they did this too. Like to see him just laying in bed sleeping, and then you hear his mom like
because he's supposed to be taking sleeping pills, right? Yeah, so he should be dead asleep.
And she hears mom in like hysterics, and she bursts in there, and she's like cuddling him and stuff, and you can tell he like really likes it. Yeah, like obviously he doesn't get that no more.
I also feel like he was smiling because he's like, oh yeah, I got away with this shit.
Yeah, I think it's like a twofold thing for sure. And then that's when we hear them like, "Oh, this one's alive," and he's like, "Oh shit!"
He's like, "What the fuck?"
And then it cuts to showing Ashley like in the stretcher getting on the ambulance, and they make the comment. They make the comment where because
how she made it.
Yeah, right. Because earlier, Lucas made the comment of like, "Oh man, duct tape has so many uses."
Yeah,
and the dude was like, "Oh, she had duct tape over this wound, like that saved her life," you know. Yeah, and she flicks him off in the window. Yeah, that was and then it cuts to the credits briefly, but then it cuts back after those brief credits, and he's like, "Mom, I don't know, like I want to check on Ashley, like maybe we should go to the hospital because he's trying to finish her ass off at the hospital because he's just that crazy." Yeah. And then that was the ending. That was the end right there.
Yeah.
Yep. So let's go into like our overall thoughts on things. So we'll start with the plot and story. What's your overall thoughts on
that? Okay, so for me, I think after the twist is revealed, which is really early in the movie,
yeah, it is.
I kind of lose my main interest.
Okay.
Because now it's just a whole bunch of stuff that continues to happen to try to keep this kid from getting in trouble. You know? So I kind of like tune out a little bit after that part. So it's not that great to me.
Yeah. I actually thought the plot story was awesome. Like I thought it was really good. Honestly, low key kind of thought it was fire because it was just so unexpected. So when we watched this film, because we watched this film for the first time a couple years ago. Yeah. And neither one of us really knew like how it played out. We saw the description, and saw recommendations to watch it, and then when we finally did watch it, for me, like that was just so unexpected that I was like, "What the like? Whoa! Like where is this going?" So for me, it was the opposite effect. Once he knocked her ass out, and then like they started going from there. I was actually more interested. I was like, okay, like where's this gonna go? Like how is this gonna end? Because I'm sure there could be other movies like this, but at least watching it, like I can't think of none right off the top. So this setup is kind of rare in its setup, especially for like a Christmas slasher sort of movie, right? And so from there, like I was like on board to just figure out like where this shit was gonna go because this kid is crazy, and then like you don't really see that a lot, like evil kid characters that are like
you do
not like menacing as he is. Like this dude's a menace.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure
I'm sure there's others.
Let me write it in the comments because there are.
Yeah, I mean there's others, but like I don't know. There's something like this kid is
I think you got blinders on right now.
This kid demented.
Well, obviously he's demented. I don't know. Anyways, Performances.
But hold on. But all that to say, like,
it wasn't that great.
When there's something crazy about horror movies and the corruption of innocence.
Well, yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say?
But that's what I'm saying. And
that's why, like, when
done.
kids, yeah, I know. But normally it's like, okay, like, let's think like The Omen, right? Yeah. Like, the kid is demented, but it's more because, like, of the supernatural aspect to it.
Okay.
Like the son of the devil type
other
aspect.
Movie with the little kid with the red hair? What's the name of that movie?
Which one we talking about?
If I knew, I would tell you. I don't know.
Little kid with the red hair?
Yeah, he was a really evil kid, and it wasn't because of supernaturalness. He was just really evil.
Like, yeah, give me like more to go off of.
He was a little kid with red hair. That's all I can tell you. Like, it's an old movie.
You don't remember nothing else like tied in with the movie?
He was doing really crazy stuff.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Anyways, there's been other kids that
you're not talking about like really crazy, the family friendly one, are you?
Family friendly.
Like I don't Dennis the Menace type stuff.
No, it was an actual horror movie.
Oh, okay.
If y'all know what I'm talking about, let me know in the comments because I can't remember. But it's an older movie.
But you see the point I'm making, right? Where it's like you can't even beyond that, you can't even think of all the movies where it's just like. I'm
sure there's some other ones.
Like some real life.
Corn. Well, it's kind of supernatural.
That's what I'm saying. Right? Like, this is just a kid who there's no supernatural element to him. He's just crazy as hell.
Yeah.
He just sick. He just savage.
I guess
he's just a menace. Like,
there's we're just gonna have to agree to disagree.
You know what I'm trying to say? There's no extra. He's not
like
he's the Antichrist or nothing like that.
I get
like,
what you're saying.
Got problems.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like, I don't know.
More out there,
huh?
I know there's more. I just can't think of them all right now.
I'm sure there's more, but I feel like it's rare in this category of this supposed to be this. Even you were saying like, oh man, this is a 12-year-old. He ain't supposed to be doing all this. Like. I feel like that just makes it worse. He's just that crazy.
Yeah,
you know
he is crazy.
But yeah, so for me, that twist was super fire. Like I just didn't see it coming. And then like how everything else played out with like, you know, even how we discover things that are going on as Garrett discovers as how things are going on and the people that end up making it and don't make it. Like even up until that point, like to the very end, you're thinking, damn, like this kid really getting away with this. Like.
And that's what I did not like.
He really gonna go. You know, sometimes the dark ending is cool. Like Sinister, right?
No,
that Sinister ain't nobody making it out of that bitch.
I feel like it works for some movies like Sinister, but it doesn't work for other movies like this one.
It does work,
and it reminds me a lot of Soft and Quiet because those B words they should have got it. And in this case, I think this little kid should have got it something. Like I needed some on-screen closure for this guy. Like he needed something to happen to him.
Yeah, but
I don't know what it would have been.
These people don't always get caught. That's what's crazy. That's what's crazy about this
I get that. But I'm not watching real life story. I'm watching a fictional movie. So in this particular case, I needed this kid to get got.
Hey, that's why it's crazy. That's why this plot is wild. But all right, so let's talk about performances. What do you think about the performances?
I thought the performances were good. I thought they did a good job playing their roles.
I honestly thought all the performances were really good.
Not about all. I said most.
Whose performance didn't you like?
I mean, I just felt like that. Hold on now, why are you coming at me so roughly?
Well, you said
like you act like you wrote this movie.
No, I'm saying I'm asking because you can't be like some of them, not all, but then not give us no details.
Okay, let me tell you.
What's the detail?
Okay, calm down. I just feel like I don't know. Maybe because these people were put in this movie to be killed, so it was like, well, why are we trying to get any kind of like depth to them? But like. I felt like there was, for example, the scene with Ashley and Ricky where he was like, "Oh, you know, you get away or whatever." It was like,
yeah, because I don't know. He loved her to some degree.
Does
apparently.
He? I don't know. He seemed like a douche to me, but I don't know. I remember he like him the way he was acting in that scene. It seemed like it was abnormal. Like it didn't work. You know, him trying to be kind or trying to be heartwarming in that moment just to me did not work. No. So it was like. You try to give this flat character an emotion that doesn't really fit to me.
Well, I feel like they kind of set it up, right? Because he'd been calling her like nonstop, right? Because what does he realize?
Was he, or maybe he was just trying to smash before she left?
I don't think so, because he hadn't smashed him to that point. So
that's what I'm saying. He was trying to smash before she left.
I don't think that was the case. I think what happened was he realized what he had. She's about to be gone.
Yeah, but she said they were still going to try to work things out, right?
Yeah, but he don't know that for sure, right? She going off to school. You don't have some people go off to school. They in a whole new environment, around whole new people. Like he probably feel like, oh, we ain't gonna make it,
right?
Because he even says it like, man, the kid's right. Like I don't got none of that shit. He's like, I ain't going nowhere. He's like, you going places, but I really ain't going nowhere.
Right.
So he already feels like he don't have a chance. So now he is like, okay, I gotta step it up. I gotta do all this extra stuff. He even brought flowers, right? He already was like, I gotta try my best to express myself and do better. So in that moment, he already realizing, oh, I'm about to lose this woman, right? So now in this moment, he's trying to he's trying to protect her, because he probably really cares about her. You know what I'm saying? He's like, all right, hey, look, you can make it. He's like, I could probably survive a lot of this shit. Yeah. You can get out of here. Because what did he say, right? And I felt like it was genuine, or else he would have made the comment where he's like, the kid's right. I ain't worth shit. Yeah. Where he's like, oh, you got a whole plan. You got a career. Get out of here. I'm going to be that dude that never leaves this town. Yeah. And goes work at the body shop down the street type. So I feel like in that moment, it kind of worked. So you're not looking at the whole thing.
I guess not. See what I'm saying? I don't know. I just felt like
I think you just you tuned out and you stopped paying attention to the details. You know what I'm saying? But
maybe that's what happened.
Yeah, because I genuinely thought all the performances were really
I didn't
good.
say that they okay. I just didn't really like his performance fully. And I obviously didn't like the dad.
Oh, right, because he done all the creepy stuff.
Well, he was creepy, but he also was creepy in the way he was being creepy. I don't know. To me, it just...
So he did it. So that means it's a good performance then.
I guess
you felt uncomfortable.
I guess
if you felt uncomfortable,
I don't know.
It was a believable performance.
I didn't really like that first thing. But the mom, she was pretty... I thought she
was good too.
Seemed like, she seemed decent in her performance. And I've seen her in other stuff too. So I've seen the dad on something else too. I just can't remember
he been
what
in plenty
it
of
is.
stuff.
Yeah.
Comedy stuff.
Yeah.
Now what about...
But we also didn't get a lot of other characters.
Yeah.
It's mostly just Ashley and Lucas for the majority of
it's all movie. Their dynamic between her, Lucas and Garrett. Their whole dynamic. And that, even Garrett's character is a sad character, right? Because he was just,
along with a
puppet to Lucas's schemes. Yeah. And never thought for himself. And before he got shot, he even made a point of saying like he's about to finish his sentence, but he's like, I wish I had the balls to stand up to Lucas, because he don't. Because everybody said it. Literally everyone kept telling him. Even Ricky, I think, said it. I believe, unless it was. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did. But he's like, why you hanging out?
Yeah, he did this
before he got hit by the paint can. He's like, why the fuck are you friends with him? So everyone kept trying to tell him, and it took all the way up to he's about to die for him to realize, damn, why am I his friend? I don't get nothing out of this relationship, as friendship, I'm saying this movie hard.
Or whatever. Interesting fact, Garrett and Ashley played siblings in The Visit.
Oh, yeah, he told me that. I thought that was really cool. The Visit is a good one. It's another really good twist. Now, what about the kills and sort of action elements of this film? How'd you like those?
Let me think. You go first.
Oh, yeah, I go first. I thought they were dope. There's not a whole lot of kills.
I feel like you're going to say that for everything. Oh, it was dope. It was fire. It was hard. That's what you're going to say for everything.
Because I like this movie, so I'm going to rock for it because I liked it.
All right, go ahead.
I enjoyed it. The kills are really good. That paint can, and what's cool about that paint can scene is it's a scene where you don't actually see the damage, but it's what they do. It's what they do around it to make you feel like, man, that shit. Yeah,
because we don't see the can anymore, right?
There's no special effects. Yeah. Like a Terrifier or something like that. We actually see somebody's head get smashed. Right. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Where it's just
blood.
Even when the can is about to hit, it cuts to I want to say it was his hand area, his feet area, and it shows the boom happens, and then the red starts to spill in with the yellow paint from the splatter. Yeah. That's hard.
Yeah. You like that?
That was a dope kill. And then even some of the shots that were set up, there's a shot where I don't remember exactly when it was, but you can't see the result of what happened. You see the paint can hovering in front of his face, but you can't see the damage it actually did. So I think it was really smart. I'm sure they worked with a very small budget where it's okay, we don't have the budget to make this very gruesome. Let's make it feel gruesome and let your mind fill in the gaps, what you can't see. Yeah. That was a dope kill. The kill where he hung the dude in the back, that was dope. The Garrett kill was savage. I liked how he got blasted across the deck, because that's super unrealistic. But I thought it was funny. Poof, he just got blasted into the daggone table.
Not funny.
And then it was comical in how just aggressive the blast, because obviously they're trying to catch you off guard, right?
Yeah.
Like
obviously.
shock you, like, whoa, like what the fuck?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then for him to go and like execute him, like it's just like, damn, like this shit is, that's how I kept feeling throughout this whole film. Like this shit is crazy.
Yeah.
And it's such a gruesome, like brutal kill for this kid to just die, like he ain't nothing. And that's it's sad, but it's gruesome. But it works with this character of this psychotic little kid. You know what I mean? And then, but yeah, in general, like I thought the kills and the action sequences, even some of the more suspenseful ones where she's trying to like set herself free, but she got to keep making sure that he's not noticing that she's free. Like I like the suspense of that because you're not really sure, like, oh man, if he do catch her, like what's gonna happen? Because this little 12-year-old crazy as hell, like. So even some of the suspenseful elements of where even when you first believe that someone it really is breaking into the house, I feel like they executed that really good. Where they're like sneaking around, trying to make sure they're not making noise. Like all the suspension sequences, the kills, the horror, I thought was all like shot really good. Like I gotta go and see this director's other work because I'm curious to see how. I don't know if it's a horror movie or not, but the way he handled the sequences in these, I thought were really good. I really liked all the aspects surrounding the different kills and horror elements.
Okay.
Yeah, you go. Your turn.
Okay. Well, I don't really feel no type of way really about the kills.
Yeah.
I thought that utilizing the Home Alone reference with the paint can was an interesting element.
Yeah, it was cool.
But I don't have like. Oh, this was like the best kill or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Now, what about I kind of already mentioned it, but like the suspense / horror elements of this film?
I think if I had to like pinpoint like one particular scene that I enjoyed the most, it would probably be like him trying to get back into bed before his parents came home.
Oh, right.
There was this one part when he was on the roof and he accidentally almost knocked over one of the Christmas decorations
as
his
He
parents
caught
were walking in and he catches it before it falls. So I thought that was, pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I think all in all, like we'll get into like our overall, like, concluding thoughts. I'll let you go first and you can share like, you don't have to give it a rating, but how much, like, I guess like, do you like this movie? Do you recommend it? Like, how you feeling about it?
I just feel like this movie has a very clear demographic of who it was targeting, and I'm not in that demographic, and that's okay. Yeah. Like we've talked about that before. Like what's in your lane of likes and things that you enjoy, right? And not talking bad about it because obviously you really like this movie, and obviously there's other people out there who also really like this movie. But personally, I definitely won't be watching it again. I don't think so. Anyways, it's not gonna be like part of our lineup for Christmas horror films every year. It's just not my type of movie. Like I can take some crude humor. I'm not a prude, but I just feel like it was just like overboard for me. And then like if the kid was older, I might could have took it a little bit better. But I don't know. Yeah. I also think because I'm a parent, I always look at stuff differently anyway. Right. Like I don't know. I have a son who's almost that, like around that age, and I'm like, I don't want my kid, talking like this. I'm
telling you right now, he's talking about that kind of stuff.
I don't care. I don't want to hear about it.
Hey, look, I used to be a 12-year-old, 13-year-old boy at one point, and I can tell you.
You were talking about, there was stuff in here that was like the taste of certain body parts. You talked about stuff like that at 12? Come on now.
I think I might have.
I don't think you did.
I don't know if I said it like that. But yeah, remember, this is a TikTok YouTube generation. Yeah. They are exposed to a different level of terminology and dialogue. And, you know what I'm saying? Like they got everything at their fingertips. So they are accustomed to the more mature dialogue. Yeah. Like, so
I get that.
I don't think it's far-fetched at all to think
I'm on a different level anyway.
This kid who's almost about to be 13 is out there saying stuff like that.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay. Yeah. That aspect bothered me. But also, I don't know. Like I said, after the twist, it kind of like, it's like, okay, come on.
So the twist didn't really do nothing for you.
I mean,
like for me, it was
the first time I watched it, obviously, I was like, oh, wow. It's, it's not, it's always going to be like a, oh, wow feeling when something isn't going the way you thought it was going. Yeah. But after that, the movie just kind of like, I feel like they were saying like, oh, what else can we do? What else can we do?
Do you feel
what
like
else can we do?
Do you feel like it turned into like, like a lot of people don't like the Eli Roth type of films, where it's almost like a torture porn type of film. Do you feel like that this film it's not really in that category, but it's in that vein of like these people don't really have no chance, and now it's just like, you know, they are at the whims of the person who's in control.
Yeah, and then the fact that there's nothing that happens to this kid. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't get caught, and I don't know what happens after that, but I need to see it. And I mentioned Soft and Quiet because I needed to see these women get some kind of something happened to them for what they did. And I feel like that's what I needed in this case too.
Okay.
Sometimes I mean, I'm all for like you mentioned, sinister ending.
I love that movie. That ending is brutal.
It is. But it's like, well, in that case, it's not real life.
Ending's even
you know
worse.
What I'm saying? Like, Bagul isn't like a real person. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, there's no way you can do anything to him.
Like, think about that little girl.
Well, they
soul sucked forever.
Yes, they get got. I mean, it's not their fault, but they do.
And think about little girl stuck in Magoo land.
But it's nothing we can do to get her out of it, unless they come with a Sinister 3 and then somebody's trying to figure out how to get their kid back.
Well, I mean, I don't really remember Sinister 2. I think they do figure out how to beat them. But I deleted that movie from my mind because I hated it so much that I honestly don't.
I delete it from your mind.
I really honestly don't even remember what happens anymore.
Oh, now I need to read.
I know the cops in there from the first one.
Oh, well, we need to watch it again because I don't know how that goes.
But like, yeah, I only watched it one time, and then after I watched that, like, I hated it so much. I was like, I'll never watch this ever again.
Oh, wow.
And by this point, I honestly have forgotten what happened.
Oh, okay. Well, we have to watch that again.
But compared to the first, it's terrible. But
well, either way, this is a real person. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
he's a human being, and he can have justice served on him. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he can be caught for this.
Absolutely.
And so I needed to see that.
Right.
And I don't know. I ain't like it.
Okay. No, hey, that's fair. That's fair. For me, I really like this film. Honestly, I'd recommend it. Like, I know, like, for you, like, some of the crudeness is a little too much for you.
Just a little bit.
But so, as someone who grew up in like the American Pie like era,
why you act like we didn't grow up in the same era?
Like, but that don't mean you like that type of movie.
I didn't.
That's what I'm saying. Like, but I thought those type of movies was funny. You know what I'm saying? Like, I thought a lot of elements of those movies were funny, and I feel like this movie kind of pulls from those types of like comedic movies. And I like the twist for me really worked really good because it was so unexpected. Even the way they market this film as like their home, like a Home Alone situation, panic room type shit, where they're like, oh, we got to escape this house and someone's trying to get us. Even the cover art, the poster is them two together with her with the knife, and you're like, damn, like what these kids, what these people, this babysitter got to protect this kid, and it just has a complete flip. And like from that point on, I feel like I'm on this ride of like, I don't know where this train getting off at. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen, and this kid's so diabolical, and like obviously like he 3 steps ahead. Like, it's just crazy. You know what I'm saying? And it's one of those where it's just like the story's just crazy, and you just are just experiencing the craziness of the story. And I thought the performances were good. Obviously they had a smaller budget, and I thought they used it very well with a lot of the presentations of what happens and the effects and things like that. I thought the pacing was very good. Like, I felt like it's always engaging at all times, basically. Like, it to me, there's never a point where it like slows. A lot of movies sometimes hit this point where they slow down. And you're like, okay, like this movie never has it's always going. Like, it's always going to the next part. You're like, damn, like what the fuck about to happen next? Like, it never slows down. I like that part. I didn't like. I like breakneck speed. I like that.
I can like it too, but I felt like they were just coming up with stuff to keep it going. Like, it wasn't like good stuff that there was happening to amp it up. It was just kind of like, okay, now what do we do now? Like, I don't know.
But then you realize that this kid got this whole plan, so he's just executing it. So it's not like he just randomly thought to bring Jeremy there. This motherfucker already knew. I'm bringing him there. Like, this motherfucker planned the whole thing out. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'd highly recommend this film, especially if you've never seen it. Like, obviously, hopefully you've seen it if you watched it to this point in the podcast, because now you know everything.
Yeah.
But no, this movie's a great time. I really enjoyed watching this for Christmas. But I'm curious to know what y'all think down in the comments below. Like how are y'all feeling about Better Watch Out? Are you with me? You think it's actually a decent film? Or are you with her where you're just kind of like, this movie's like, it's okay. You think it's okay, right? Like, you don't really care for it.
It's okay, and it's not rewatchable for me.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm curious to know what y'all think about Better Watch Out. Drop all that down in the comments below, and then also drop some films that have like other evil little kids in there
that are not supernatural,
right? That are not like possessed or have some sort of supernatural influence. They just raw, psychotic little ass kids. It's crazy. Put that down in the comments below. Again, this is our 3rd episode in the Christmas
final
series.
episode.
Oh, yep, and the final one. So
we had fun though. We talked about Krampus. That was good.
Yeah, that was a good conversation. Black Christmas.
That's 1974.
That's a great film as well. And then concluding with the Better Watch Out.
Yes.
So if you've never seen the other 2 Christmas podcast episodes, check out those. Those are great conversations. We're gonna be dropping our top 10 best of 2023 horror films pretty soon. Probably the next couple of days after this drops. So depending on when you're watching this, it should already be up on the channel and also on the podcast platforms of Spotify and Apple. Be on the lookout for that. And then we're also going to do most anticipated horror films for 2024 as well. That'll be a great discussion too. So make sure you are subscribed to us so that you can see what's coming up in 2024 and then know what's the best 2023 films. So maybe there's some films on that list that you didn't watch, and now we could put you on to those films. And then also be subscribed to. We talk about horror news, so you can stay up to date on horror news as well. But make sure you like this video. You can share it as well. Join in on the conversation all about Better Watch Out and other Christmas horror films. That's another thing. Drop down in the comments too. Like, what are some of your Christmas horror films? Because we just wrapped up the 12 Days of Horror Miss as well with the 24th today too. But yeah, this has been like a fun holiday season. Like I feel like we got a chance to watch a lot of dope Christmas horror, talk about a lot of dope Christmas horror. So yeah, it's been fun. And now we're concluding. We're recording this on Christmas Eve. Christmas is tomorrow. Yes. So we hope everybody has a great holiday. No matter what you celebrate, we hope you have a happy holiday. And then as far as this podcast is concerned, like depending on when you watch it, hopefully you have a great New Year as well. Anything else you want to add, man?
Nope, that's it.
That's it. All right. Well, we'll see you on the next one, y'all. Peace.